Have you ever wondered how such a small piece is capable of stopping a vehicle moving at high speed without disintegrating from the heat or pressure? Brake pads work silently every time you press the pedal, enduring extreme temperatures and enormous forces in fractions of a second. Behind that everyday gesture lies a precise and complex industrial process where each material, each mixture, and each machine fulfills a critical function. Let's go through how modern brake pads are manufactured and what makes them capable of responding precisely when they are needed the most. Everything begins long before a recognizable brake pad exists. In a modern plant, the process starts with the careful selection of the raw materials that will determine how that block will behave when it has to stop a vehicle launched at high speed. The heart of the friction material is made up of high-hardness ceramic powders, mainly silicon nitride and silicon carbide, materials capable of withstanding extreme temperatures without deforming. These powders arrive at the factory with controlled granulometry, dry and extremely fine, almost like technical flour, because any variation in particle size can alter the resistance, noise, or subsequent wear. To that ceramic base, other components are added that fulfill very specific functions. Ultrafine copper fibers are incorporated to help conduct heat away from the contact surface and prevent the temperature from concentrating in a single point. Graphite comes into play to soften the contact with the disc and reduce vibrations, allowing for more progressive braking. Mineral fillers and reinforced glass are also added to increase the mechanical strength of the assembly, along with barium sulfate, which provides thermal stability and density to the material. In many modern compounds, steel fibers are added to reinforce the internal structure and allow the pad to withstand enormous pressures without cracking. The exact proportion of each ingredient is not public and varies between manufacturers because that formula defines the character of the product and is protected as an industrial secret. Before entering the mixing stage, all the raw materials go through a control and conditioning phase that is decisive for the final quality of the product. At this point, the condition of each material is carefully analyzed, beginning with moisture, since an excess can cause clumping, and a lack can affect the later cohesion of the mixture. The powders are inspected to rule out external contaminants, unwanted metallic residues, or particles of inadequate size that may have entered during transport or storage. Mechanical operations are also carried out to break up agglomerations and restore each component to its original fluidity, ensuring that the material behaves uniformly in the following stages. This preliminary control is not a simple administrative step, but a key technical stage. A single poorly integrated lump or a particle outside specifications can later become a weak point within the pad. Under real operating conditions, that microscopic defect can manifest as vibrations, annoying noises, irregular disc wear, or even internal microfractures when the material is subjected to high temperatures and strong pressures. For this reason, the initial preparation is considered the foundation of the entire manufacturing process, since the stability and behavior of the material in service depend on it. Once the raw materials have been verified and conditioned, the process moves to the dosing stage, where precision is absolute. Each component is weighed individually following carefully developed formulas that define the balance between ceramics, fibers, graphite, and additives. These proportions are not arbitrary. They determine how the pad will respond to heat, how much friction it will provide, how the temperature will dissipate, and what level of wear it will show throughout its service life. Even minimal variations in these quantities can significantly alter the final result. If the dosing is not exact, the material may show undesirable behaviors. An excess of certain components can produce a pad that is too hard and aggressive on the disc, while an insufficient amount of others can cause overheating or loss of effectiveness during prolonged braking. For that reason, the weighing systems used in this phase operate with very strict tolerances and are integrated into electronic controls that verify each load before authorizing it. In addition to the weighing, each batch is identified from the very beginning. It is recorded which materials were used, in what quantities, from which supplier they come, and at what moment the dosing was carried out. This traceability makes it possible to follow the path of the material throughout the entire production process and is essential for quality control. In this way, the combination of preliminary controls and precise dosing ensures that the material entering the mixer has a uniform and stable composition. This initial rigor is what allows the subsequent stages, such as pressing and sintering, to develop consistently and ensures that the final product meets the demanding safety and performance requirements expected of a modern brake pad. The actual mixing is carried out in enormous industrial mixers, capable of handling volumes of thousands of liters. Inside them, the dry powders are first combined gradually to distribute each particle evenly. Then the metallic fibers and the graphite are incorporated, ensuring they do not break or clump together. Finally, the liquid lubricant is added, usually a technical wax that represents around 5 to 7% of the total weight. This lubricant transforms the cloud of powder into a moist and cohesive mass, suitable for pressing. During the mixing, the machine rotates at a controlled speed, and the temperature is kept around 40 degrees to prevent the wax from solidifying prematurely. After about 30 minutes, the result is a uniform, dense and stable mass, similar in consistency to an industrial paste, ready to move on to the next stage. That mass is not left to rest for long. It is taken directly to the presses, where the forming begins. The mixture is dosed in exact quantities and deposited into metal molds that define the basic shape of the pad. Each mold receives a precise portion of the material because the final weight directly influences the density and behavior of the product. Before each cycle, the molds are cleaned and inspected to avoid marks or surface defects that would later be impossible to correct. Pressing is one of the most demanding moments of the process. The press applies enormous forces, on the order of tens of tons, and generates extremely high pressures on the mixture. In a matter of seconds, the moist mass is compacted, the trapped air is expelled, and the particles move closer together until they form a solid block. This extreme pressure not only gives shape, but also creates a high internal density, essential for the pad to withstand both temperature and pressure during braking. At the end of the cycle, the piece comes out with its basic geometry defined, slightly thicker than it will be in its final state, and with surfaces already designed to optimize contact with the disc. At this point, the piece is still fragile, almost like a hard cheese, and could not withstand any serious stress. That is why it is known as a green piece. The green pieces are grouped and carefully placed on steel trays to enter the sintering furnace. This furnace is usually a long tunnel, where the pads move forward slowly while passing through different temperature zones. The heating is not abrupt, because a sudden increase could generate internal stresses and cracks. The temperature rises progressively until it reaches very high values, close to the actual operating range of the pad. For several hours, the material remains in that controlled environment, allowing the ceramic structure to consolidate, the metallic fibers to integrate firmly, and the graphite and other additives to stabilize within the matrix. Sintering is the step that transforms a fragile block into a component capable of withstanding extreme conditions. After completing the thermal cycle, which can extend over half a full day, the pieces begin a controlled cooling process as well. In ceramic materials, cooling is just as important as heating, because a temperature drop that is too rapid can generate invisible microfractures that would compromise the safety of the product. Once stabilized, the pads move on to quality control. Here it is verified that the dimensions are exact, using laser scanners capable of measuring with 100th millimeter precision. The interior of the material is also inspected using ultrasound, looking for pores, cracks, or density variations that are not visible to the naked eye. Pieces that do not meet the criteria are discarded immediately. The approved pieces then move on to machining. Although they already have shape, the friction surface must be perfectly flat and uniform. Grinding machines remove a small layer of material, adjusting the final thickness and ensuring that the pad sits correctly on the disc. In this stage, the edges are also rounded and sharp corners are removed, a key detail to reduce vibrations and squealing during actual use. This fine finishing is what makes the difference between silent braking and annoying braking. Once the pad reaches its final geometry, the application of a surface coating begins, whose function is to optimize its initial performance and protect the friction surface. This treatment consists of an extremely thin layer of specific compounds, among which molybdenum disulfide stands out, selected for its ability to reduce friction in the early stages of use. The application is carried out in a controlled manner to ensure uniform coverage, without altering the dimensions or the tolerances obtained during machining. This coating plays a key role during the first braking cycles, as it facilitates a gradual settling between the pad and the disc. By creating a more stable interface from the beginning, noises, vibrations, and irregular sensations that may appear when both components come into contact for the first time are significantly reduced. In this way, the pad begins to work in a progressive and predictable manner, ensuring smoother and more consistent performance during the first kilometers, while the natural adaptation process to the braking system is completed. Each pad is permanently marked, generally with a laser, to record its origin, batch, and specification. This marking allows for complete traceability, so that any problem detected in the future can be linked to a specific moment in the production process. After marking, the pads are grouped into sets along with the necessary mounting elements, such as springs or plates, forming the assembly that will reach the vehicle. Before leaving the factory, the assembly undergoes final tests on simulation benches. In these machines, the pad is pressed against,